sent you the link to the files for the login for the create account. So the moment you are able to download the files, of course, you'll get a folder like this one. So this is the very first file. Of course, you need to copy the code and paste in your index file because you want the moment somebody hits this server, we'd like this file to be the first to be launched. So you may need to create a file called index.php. Then you just copy the code from this file and paste it there. Then now from there, you can also link it up with your CSS folder. Of course, if you don't have this CSS file, you can still create a folder, call it CSS. Then inside, create a file, call it styles.css. Then now here in your index page, make sure you create the link, this link to the CSS file. Of course, the normal way we do. So once you're done, you're expecting now when you hit that server, this page becomes the first to be launched. So like for this case, when I say localhost slash sample app, immediately I just hit the server. Then now this page becomes the first to be launched. So I have login page here and I have the sign up. I think I've already worked it for you. So what you need now here is we need to prepare especially the sign up page to be able to capture these details and submit them to the database the moment somebody clicks sign up. So we need to make sure that one, our form here has the relevant namings. Like for example, the first input should have a name, the second a name, the third a name, and then now from there, if somebody clicks sign up, of course we expect that data to be taken to the database. So let us start by that. So go to your index, then now see where your form tag is located. So here in the form tag, we have the form itself. We need to give it a method. Of course, this one doesn't have. So just say method equals something. Of course, now this should be post. And then you make sure the inputs again, the inputs, make sure each input has a name. So like, let me see mine. My first input it is I need to give it a name, so the name should be something relevant, so I can just say maybe name equals email. So I need something like that. Name equals email. Then the next input, name equals password. Name equals password. Then of course, where is the next one? Let me see my other input. So of course, this is the first form. I think this form was for the, yeah, it was for the login, because I can see there's the value login here. So this is just the email and the password. Then now the button to login, which is here. We also need to give it a name. So name equals login. Now let's start the second form for sign up. So again here we need to give this form a method. So method equals, method equals post. Method equals post. Then now here name for the first input, name equals email. Then here name equals password. I can say maybe pass1. And then here name equals pass2 or something like that. Then now your button name equals maybe I can call it sign up. So now my form is ready. My both forms, the first form which started here ended here, that is for the login, and then now the second form that started here ended here, they are now ready for to be processed using PHP. So that is the first thing that we need. Then now from there we can decide to have now our PHP that will fetch this data. We are going to start with the first form, the form for no the second form, sorry, the form for sign up, because we expect to fetch data for the email and one of these two, then we submit to the database. That is the moment the sign up button is clicked. So remember we are using PHP, so at this point maybe we can just have uh, we can decide to introduce PHP at this point, and then we close PHP at this point. Then now we start processing our files. So we say if into brackets, curly bracket as usual. That is if our button for sign up is clicked. So what will happen if our button for sign up is clicked? If our button for sign up is clicked here, so we say if is set into brackets, then in here variable underscore post straight brackets single quotes, then now the name of your button here, which is sign up. So if that sign up is clicked, then we now start processing. So you can start by getting the email, then now the first password and the second password. So like here we say $sign email equals $sign underscore post straight brackets. Then after the straight brackets, of course, now you enter the relevant values. So the first item here being the email. So we have the email here, and then the second item $sign plus one. Of course, now we are capturing the first item underscore post straight brackets single quote the second item here, which was plus one. Then after that, the third item $sign plus two equals $sign underscore post straight brackets single quotes plus two, of course. Now so we have the email, the first password and the second password. So we need to compare whether this equals this, then from there we just pick one and process. So we don't need both the two at the end of the day, we just need one of the two. So we can just have like an if statement here. You can say if, for example, if plus one equals to plus 2, if plus 1 equals to plus 2, then now we can make some decision of what we want to achieve. If plus 1 equals plus 2, what do we say? If plus 1 equals plus 2, then what do we do? So if plus 1 equals plus 2, it means maybe what the user typed as the first password is exactly matches what he typed as the second password. So we just need to pick one and then we start our activities. But now we can say in case this doesn't match, then what do we do? You can tell the user maybe your two passwords do not match. So we can like have an echo here or whichever way you prefer, and say the two password do not match. Password mismatch found. Password mismatch found, something like that. So yeah, so if password and password 2 matches, then now we can proceed. At this point, we need to insert these two in the DB. So the first thing we do as usual is to call the connector. So we can call this file, we said we need to have one single file called connection. that will be connecting us to the database. So we just need to call that. So we can call this. Then after that, once you have it, now we can write our query to insert the data. So we need to have where we are going to insert the data. Of course, now we want to insert email and either of these passwords. So we can go to the DB localhost. Then from there, phpMyAdmin, and then gigs for gigs. That was my database. I just need to create a new table here, a new table, and then the name of this table will be accounts account. So my new table will be account. It will be having three items. The first one being an ID as usual. So I can just say three columns. The first being the table ID, the second being the emails, and then now a password pass. So we need that, just that. So the length here can be 50 email, or we can still say 50, and maybe password. I think that this one we need to have as much characters as possible, because we are going to use some encoding. We are going to use some functions that we use to encrypt the password. So even if the password user typed just three characters, at the end of the day, we don't expect it to be three as it comes here, because we are going to encode it so that nobody should be able to see what the user typed as the password. So we need now here, we need like to make sure this is a bit big character. So this is ID, then the email should be varchar, and also the password need to be varchar, something like that. So of course, as usual, ID auto increment. ID, make sure your ID here is auto incremented. Then I think that is done. So we just need to save. So that is okay. So I'm expecting now my table is called account. This is where data will come. So here I need to write a query. I need to write a query at this point, a query that is expected to insert my data to the database. As usual, we just need to have a query of inserting. So we are going to do a similar thing. The first thing was to connect. Now the second thing is a query. Then from there, we execute the query. So let's proceed here. You can write a query and say this query. The query is defined as insert into the table name account. So need to be sure of the name of the table, insert it to account here. Then from there, values, you can now define the values, something like that. So the first value, comma, the second, the third, the first being auto incrementing. So we need now to pick the first here will be the email this way. Then the third will be either of these. So you can just pick one password. But remember, we are not inserting this password as raw as it is. So we may need first to encrypt it. We need to encrypt this password. So before we insert it. So maybe somewhere like where? Somewhere like here. We can say dollar sign new pass equals. We just use either SHA-1 or MD5. MD5, let's use MD5. So we say MD5. This is the function, inbuilt function that is used to do the encryption. So we just pass either. Let's use the first password or either the second. So we have now done the encryption. So then now this is what we are going to insert. After the encryption, then now we insert it. So after that, we execute our query. We are using MySQLi query, which accepts two functions. The first function being the connection string. So from our connection here, we are using this variable con. That is the first function. Then now the second function is now the query that we have just created. So we have already inserted data the DB. Maybe if you want, you can take the users back to the login page. So after that, you can take the user to the login page. So maybe we can have a variable here called maybe uh, execution. So variable execution, if it goes through, maybe now we can take people back. So I can just say maybe if at this point, if variable execution, then I just take people. I can take people to where I want. So I just say here, look, header function, semicolon, then inside here, double quotes, location, full colon, location full colon. I take people to my initial page, which was index. At least now at that point, they can now log in .php. So I'm expecting now they have created the account, yes, so they need now to log in. So I'm taking them to the page where the login is located. So maybe you can add some more messages like here. You can have maybe some pop-up or maybe something to tell the user that so you can just maybe do an echo like at this point, tell the user, maybe you can execute some JavaScript prompt code here telling the user that data has been or account has been created successfully before taking people now to the index. So you can do what you want. Yeah, just inform the user, that data was inserted. So you can use either way to do that. So let's execute our code and see what we've done so far, see whether it's running quite well. Let me go back there. This is where we were. So sign up page, email address, test, password, let me say admin, then password again admin, then sign up. So I'm expecting that data was inserted. And yes, here it is. And you can see the password was encrypted. So thank you for watching so far. Let us meet now in the next class to see how we can now use the same records here and execute the login. And after somebody has logged in successfully, then we can take that person to the dashboard page. If they don't log in successfully, then we take them out. So we need to see how we can be able to achieve that. Thank you. Let's meet in the next class.